Hello, my mathematicians! This is Miss Foster with Math in Focus, 3rd grade, Chapter 14, Lesson 3, Comparing Fractions. And there are so many strategies, you guys! This is the second time I'm recording it because I ran out of time on the first one. So we're going to break this into 3 different videos so that you can really think and look at all the different possibilities here. In the end, I think logical thinking and paying attention to relationships is what will help us the most. But we're going to start with strategies that will involve your hands and your eyes, your senses, so that is where all of our learning begins. And so on this video, we're going to be using a lot of fraction bars, those manipulatives we sent home with you. We're going to be using your equivalent fraction knowledge. We're going to be drawing number lines, and we're going to be drawing bar models. So let's start in that place. So a rectangle is divided into 4 equal parts. Each part is 1/4. Now this right here these are the bar models. And it just looks exactly like a bar model. And I love bar models because they're so great for fractions. But do you notice how we can also think of a bar model as a number line? This really helps me when I'm using bar models for elapsed time problems like on the online Math League contest. So helpful. So we've taken this bar model right here and we've moved it over and looked at it as a number line. And if I were at this, I usually often think of my bar models as this is the starting place at the 0. Here's the 1, and if I wanted to make that less simple, I could write 4/4 because our denominator here is 4. We are dealing with fourths, and 1 would be 4/4. Now you'll notice that as we go here, right here, it's 1/2. But that is just 2/4 in its simplest form. Aha! And if it helps you to put 2/4 there, by all means, please do. So we can use number lines to compare fractions. And we can also use those bar models. In fact, I'm going to do something called ordering fractions right now with my bar models. That's when we're comparing more than 2 things. So we would put these in order, and you have to pay really careful attention. Do they want you to start the least or the greatest? Well, I want to start right now with the least. There's my L for least and my capital G for greatest. And just looking at the bar models, feeling them, moving them around, oh my goodness, so important for your learning. Please do it. Don't feel bad about that. So the smallest fraction here, 1/10. The next smallest fraction, 1/8. The next smallest fraction, which is bigger? Ooh, fourths are smaller, and that would make 1/3 over here. And when you line them all up on that like that, it's called ordering, and we can put commas in between them just to separate them. Now you're also welcome to draw your own models. So here we're contrasting or comparing 5/6 and 1/2. And look at these lovely words, is greater than. We actually have an abbreviated sign for that right here, greater than. So which one is greater, 5/6 or 1/2? Well, drawing it out like this, it's easy to see that 5/6 is greater than 1/2. I'm just going to draw some arrows here. But remember I said we would be using equivalent fractions? Notice this sneaky thing they did. They may have started by just cutting that blue pie in half, but do you notice that they made the cuts exactly the same as the sixths? This is a visual drawn form of using equivalent fractions to get a like fraction or a common denominator. And the less simple form of 1/2 is 3/6. And so 5/6 compared to 3/6, 5/6 is definitely greater right there. Now here we have less than, and less than sign goes right like this. And so let me see, I have some old writing on there. We always do it left to right when we are using those signs. So now we're comparing 7/8 and 1/2. And you see they did that sneaky thing again. When they first colored it, I bet they just cut it in half right there. But look, they're using a drawn form of equivalent fractions. When they get the pieces the same size, we can easily see that 4/8 is going to be less than 7/8. Now, when we are comparing like fractions, that's great because we only have to worry about the numerators. What are you talking about, Miss Foster? Well, hopefully in the introductory video, you heard that the denominator gives us a lot of information, not just about how many pieces are in the whole thing, and you can see down here Rita has 8 out of 8, so she has the whole thing, but also the size of the pieces. And for me, when I began realizing that denominators tell us the size of the pieces, like fractions just opened up for me. So if the pieces are all already the same size, then we can just compare how many pieces each one has. So Gina, Heather, and Rita each have an equal size paper, plate, for a craft project. Each girl divides her plate into 8 equal parts, so we must be dealing with fractions, equal parts. Gina decorates 3/8 of her plate. Heather decorates 5/8 of hers. Rita decorates 8/8 of her plate here. Who decorates the most? Who decorates the least? Well, if I didn't want to draw that all out, guess what? Rita has 8 pieces down. She did the most. And Gina only got 3 of hers. She's got the smallest number of pieces done. Oh, Gina, you got to catch up, honey. Now, shaboom! I just erased all that for you. What about these? We've got 3/7, 5/7, and 2/7. So all of them have the same size pieces down here in the denominator. I just need to look at that numerator. 5/7 is the greatest because 5 is greater than 3 or 2. And 2 is the least because 2 is less than 3 or 5. And it doesn't even matter about that denominator hardly, because we're just counting numbers of pieces here. So I would say that 2/7 is the least, and 3/7 is the middle, and 5/7 is the most. That's putting them in order, and it's hard to see, but this is a comma right here. We put those to separate our fractions. And that's where I'm going to end it for this video. I crossed off this beautiful drawing here, but you guys, drawing is always okay in fractions. Always. So the things we learned today, do lots of drawings, get out those bar models, please, please, please use them, move them around, draw those bar models, think about bar models as number lines or vice versa. And if you've got the same size pieces, you just have to look at the numerator. Hey guys, thanks for playing with fractions with me. I love playing math with you, sorry. And bye-bye for now.